You can't hear anything. It's completely silent.
Right.
So the first thing you hear when you walk in is nothing. I mean, really nothing. And then the sound comes, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And you go, oh my God, it's my heart. The idea of a musician, where you go and listen to a person play music and you're in that area with that person, that's gone. I mean, even if you go to a show and everything, it's all spectacle. And the idea now is that music is everywhere. It's as free as piss. And you can pick it up anywhere and stream it, and it's all, you know, I get for every song that I sell, like on Spotify or Deezer or YouTube or anything, I get 0.0016 cents. Whereas if it's selling a CD, you know, you can make a couple dollars and make a living that way. There's no way to make a living anymore as a musician.
Yes.
Unless you license your stuff, like sell it to TV or film or a commercial or something. Otherwise, you have to do everything else. So I have about 5-6 different careers, just to kind of like whatever's happening, that's the one I'm doing now.
What are those 5 or 6 different careers?
Okay, well, an actor.
Okay.
I do acting as well. I've been in some commercials and some films. I teach piano, teach composition, teach music, write, and do voiceovers and music production. I write musicals. I write songs. Create albums, piano solos, improvisational stuff.
So you're very involved with the arts and the creative process. And
Not
you mentioned
business.
just now.
My teacher asked me to come here to teach Sufism.
Is that the only reason why?
Yeah. It made sense at the time.
Yep.
I laughed about it and I thought, well, that's silly. But yeah, it made sense. So I have students now. We have a center, and that's where I live. My son was in high school at the time, and I had a home, and I lived in Berkeley and was artist in residence at different places, and had a career going, you know. So everything was going. However, right about that time, the financial collapse happened, right around 2006, 2007. All the work just kind of like was stopping. People were giving up. So production was stopping. So I really had, all the work was stopping as well. So this was an opportunity to see what was here and see if I could fit in. I'd come here before a couple times to do workshops.
Okay.
And lectures and things. Yeah. So I knew what I was getting to. I mean, I went down to Melbourne first, and then when I settled, it was in the Blue Mountains, which was really nice.
Yes. Yes.
You been to Blue Mountains?
Yes. It's got amazing scenery. We've been there to shoot once.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's an amazing place.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
my friend and I, John Galea, and I have been writing a story that takes place in the Blue Mountains. And we hope to make a podcast soon. We're just finishing the script now. It's called Full Moon over Falcon Bridge.
Okay.
Murder, madness, and magic in the Blue Mountains.
Okay.
Murder in the Blue Mountains?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Living up there, I kind of accumulated these characters. Some of them I didn't understand, and I met an indigenous person there, an elder, who, when she heard some of the stories I was telling, said, "You kind of got it right. Let me help you out here."
Okay.
And so she took John and I, pretty much she walked us through the Blue Mountains and the indigenous traditional stories and overview and some other things about what happens there, and a completely different way of looking at the land. Also, there was a martial artist guy, kung fu teacher, who I hung out with, and he became one of. We incorporate some of his characters as well, his characteristics. Kind of this weird story that's kind of magical. We have posthumous pub where all the prime ministers live that are dead.
Okay. That sounds fun.
It is fun. I like it.
Yeah.
And I wrote music to go with it so that there's a musical theme that goes through it. Number one, is it for a specific scene? Am I writing for a film, a theater? Is it a short film, a feature film? You have to answer that first.
Or how about like even for a CD that you publish?
Oh, those, I just hear them. And I have to sit down and once again get out of the way and let the music come through and go, well, what do you want? Okay, now, where do you want to go with that? And it's more of a being receptive rather than, hammering something out. And sometimes it takes a long time if I'm doing it for myself. If I'm doing it for a project, as a service, I have a deadline, so I have to work efficiently. And for some reason, I can do that very quickly. Yeah, it's a personal project, but I like the story, and it feels like it's something that we need to share because it's about being cognizant of the wealth that the indigenous people have to offer us if we just shut up and listen. There's lots of teaching stories and lots of really important information and better ways to be with each other. And the teaching stories are very similar to Sufism and probably Taoism as well. The idea of, these stories tell us good behavior, what makes a good human being.
What about musicians? Who inspires you in the music world?
Alive or dead?
Both, either.
Depends what I'm looking for. I love jazz. I love McCoy Tyner and John Coltrane and good jazz. And one of the things about jazz, growing up where I did, which was Oakland and Berkeley and Los Angeles and East LA, was hanging out with a lot of black guys. The thing about jazz, a lot of people study the chords and they study, how things work, and these strange configurations of, really weird voicings and things. But these guys, this is how they talk. That's kind of like getting on the saxophone is just continuing the conversation. Of course, Mozart and Bach, Beethoven, Schubert, Schumann. I mean, I've been through lots of them. Been listening a little bit more to Sibelius lately, and Stravinsky. Stravinsky said, ducks hear. It takes effort to listen.
Okay.
So learning how to listen to me is a high art that very few people actually know how to do.
Listen to music. Did you say?
Listen.
Just listen.
Yeah. Depends how you listen, where you put your focus. Well, there was a lot of bigotry where I grew up. I got beat up.
Oh, right.
I got, bullied. Was made fun of. It wasn't fun.
Just because of the background, of your background?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess back then there was a lot of, racism and...
It hasn't changed.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's pretty much the same. It just, kind of... When you have somebody that's high up that encourages it, it just kind of blossoms again.
What do you think of your current president? I'm just kidding.
Not mine. I don't have anything to do with it. I'm from Berkeley. We don't have anything to do with the United States.
Okay. All right, sure.
It's an embarrassment and a joke.
Okay.
He says fake news. I say fake president. I just put my concentration into playing the piano. So I put all my feelings into that.
I think that's a good way for, if any kid out there right now is facing a similar situation.
It took me inside to do that. It took me into internal worlds I didn't know existed and learned more about myself that way as well.
Okay.
It's the chord structures are fairly distant from each other. That's why. Usually you can move through using scales and modes to go from one chord to another. Coltrane built giant steps because it was so difficult to do, because they're so unconnected. Dee da dee dong dong, dee dee da dee dong dong, dee dong dong, dee dong ba, dee dong ba. It's hard. His basic Bible was the Slonimsky, the thesaurus of musical scales. All the scales are there. Big book. I used to have it. Do I still have it? I probably still have it. Has all the chords and scales of everything.
I see.
A 2-note scale, 3-note scale, 4-note scale, and
I
on.
see.
And then the harmonization of each of those.
Thanks for hanging with us on the Convo couch, and thank you very much, Victor, for coming along.
My pleasure. Great to be here.
Don't
Thanks.
forget to check out his music, Darvish and Evocation, on all digital media streams, and subscribe on the links below. We'll see you next time.
Oh, you wish to know where I'm from? I am from magnesium. I am a manganese. I speak manganese. Let me speak manganese for you. Bernik get the trene, chikatapat free, sandragat schlatze.